What's going on, everyone? Bran here from Bloody Breakdown, and today we're going to be taking a look at Halloween Ends. That's right, you've heard me right. A little more than a month out from the release of Halloween Kills, here we are already meeting back here once again to talk about the next sequel and the supposed final installment. Yeah, I know. In the Halloween franchise, Halloween Ends. So what do we have here? We do have some news pertaining to when production will begin, the working title of the film, and some rumored character breakdowns. So once again, I want to preface, until you actually see this information come from an official source, from Blumhouse, from Universal, until you see that, you take any of these rumors just as rumors with a grain of salt. However, we do have some information here, and like I said, some rumored character breakdown. So let's go ahead and jump right in. By the way, this coming to us courtesy of murphysmultiverse.com, so go check them out. So the article starts as saying, we can exclusively reveal that production on Halloween Ends kicks off in January as it's looking to cast a plethora of roles. So digging in a little bit further to the article, it says here, we at Murphy's Multiverse can reveal that production on the third Halloween film, Halloween Ends, will enter production in January. Filming will take place in Savannah, Georgia, starting on January the 19th. So that sounds pretty official, not just saying a general time here, the actual date. That production will begin January the 19th, which honestly not very shocking. I have heard previous to this information coming forward that production would likely be starting in January. So this isn't really exactly new to me, but having that actual date on it is going to be interesting, because I know a lot of people like me and other huge Halloween fans are going to be starting January the 19th, scouring the interwebs, trying their best to find some information on said production of Halloween Ends. So it's always a fun time. Also, I do think it's interesting that this Blumhouse or David Gordon Green trilogy of Halloween films have all taken place in states that touch each other here in the southeast United States of South Carolina for Halloween 2018, North Carolina for Halloween Kills, and now Georgia for Halloween Ends. So that's also an interesting little side note that I did notice. Now here's some other interesting things. Speaking of director David Gordon Green, the article goes on to say David Gordon Green returns behind the camera for the third installment, which he has described as a, quote, coming of age, unquote, movie, which takes place 4 years after the events of Halloween Kills. We can also report this film is operating under the working title Cave Dweller. So, coming of age. Let's think about that for a minute. Because the youngest character that we've really been introduced in this Halloween universe from David Gordon Green would be Allison. But if Allison was a junior or senior during the events of Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, you really can't call this 4 years later much of a coming-of-age story now, can we? So that kind of leads me to believe that there is going to be a younger character that is going to have a more predominant role in this film, perhaps. Once again, this is all coming to us based on rumors. And like I said, until I see anything official, I'm not going to say with 100%, this is the case. But I really haven't seen anything to the contrary as of yet, which is honestly why I'm reporting on this. And if nothing else, it's very interesting to talk about. Now, the other thing there is the working title of Cave Dweller. So you may say to yourself, Bran, there are people, or there are films rather, that have operated under working titles that had nothing to do with what the film's actually about. And I'll agree with you there. However, Halloween Kills used the working title of Mob Rules, which was very much involved in the plot and the storyline of Halloween Kills, to anyone who has seen it thus far. So I wouldn't doubt it if this film, the working title Cave Dweller, does actually have something to do with the movie in some shape, way, form, or fashion. I mean, after all, it could be where Michael's been hiding these last 4 years, because I got to tell you, as much as he may want to hang out at his house, probably not the best idea for him to do so. That could be something right there as to why the film is using that working title. Because like I said, based on Halloween Kills, I don't see them using a working title that has nothing to do with the film at all whatsoever. And another thing is that, what we already know about this film, that it's 4 years in the future, it coincides with our reality, COVID is a thing, things of that nature, the script being compared to Christine. There's a lot of things in this film that seem different. But, I always like to remind people different isn't always bad. Sometimes it's just exactly what a franchise needs. So let's all wait before we make any judgment calls on some of these things that seem different. So the article goes on to say, as far as the film's cast, Halloween Ends is looking to cast a fair amount of roles. Among them are a self-assured nurse named Erin, who works between the who is between the ages of 28 and 35 and is very judgmental. Awesome. Can't wait to meet you, Erin. As well as a proprietor between the ages of 40 and 80 years old. Other roles being cast for the film are Scott, Donna, Mr. Mead, and Mrs. Mead. Per the breakdown, Scott is a male between the ages of 52 and 57. He is stern, strong, and a straight shooter who is sometimes checked out. I guess that could be a cause for concern, being checked out, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one, right? While Donna is a 55 to 65-year-old female who is Timothy's overbearing and critical mother. Wow, just sounds like an awesome cast of new characters, huh? Mr. Mead and Mrs. Mead are the parents to a young boy named Noah, who is a nice kid with the ability to switch to a jerk on a dime. Wow, these characters seem great. Both Mr. and Mrs. Mead are described as being between the ages of 40 and 50 years old. They're middle-class suburban family, with the father being described as tough as nails and the mother said to showcase emotional depth. So yeah, just some interesting things that could be lending credence to some new characters in this film. There are some more here, one of which is a character by the name of Brandon, which is cool for me because as a Brandon, I've never had a character named after me, or sharing the same name rather, in a Halloween film. So that's cool. Young Johnny and Veronica are also two new characters. So it says Brandon is a male between the ages of 40 and 60. He's a large man in weight and sense of authority who finds his son to be a disappointment. And speaking of disappointments, I finally get a character I share a name with in the Halloween universe, and he's a fat guy who's disappointed in his kids. Awesome. So young Johnny is a male between the ages of 6 and 10 who has long blonde hair, slight gap between his teeth. The character is described as having dark eyes, being a bit small. All right, I want to come back to that one. One moment. So Veronica is the last of the trio. She's between the ages of 40 and 45, who's a strong-willed, protective wife who is broken by the reminders of tragedy. So those last two characters I do want to talk about a little bit more in depth than what the description they've given us says here. So Johnny, between the ages of 6 and 10, which, if I'm not mistaken, were the age in which Michael committed his first murder on his sister Judith. With the blonde hair, very reminiscent of Michael as a child, and the character is described as having dark eyes, which is, that could be something right out of a Dr. Loomis soliloquy about Michael Myers. So, with this story being a coming-of-age story, with this character having some similar traits to that of Michael Myers when he was a kid, I'd say that is a character to definitely keep your eyes on if these character descriptions come to fruition. The other one here is Veronica, and I've noticed a couple of people really latching on to this thing about her being she's broken by reminders of tragedy, and a lot of people automatically assume that tragedy has to be Michael, which first I'd say no, that doesn't have to be the case at all. Especially we're living in a world of, COVID's a thing in this universe, in this film, so that could be a thing. Also, I saw some people say that if Michael were involved, that she could have suffered some type of tragedy in 1978. Maybe we learn about this the same way we learned about what happened with Lonnie. But taken to her age into account here, her being between the ages of 40 and 45, I don't think that's the case either, because at this juncture in Halloween Ends, the original film would have been 44 years old. So I think if Michael is involved in her tragedy, I think it would definitely had to have happened in the night of Halloween 2018 into Halloween Kills. Just one thing I did kind of want to mention, because I noticed some people making those references. But then the article closes by saying Halloween Ends hits theaters on October the 14th, 2022. And I couldn't be more excited about it already. Look, hey, I know there are some people weirded out by the whole COVID thing being in the movie. They don't want to see something that's been a burden on our lives in a form of escapism we use like film. I get people, are a little weirded out by the script being referred to as maybe a little too Christine-like. But I gotta say, every time we start learning things about these new films that we enjoy so much early on, they end up being totally different than what we had imagined. I'll give you the example of the triplets and the ventriloquist they were calling for Halloween Kills. And, we're all sitting here thinking, like, this isn't a Halloween movie. This sounds ridiculous. When it ends up, they're just kind of a part of a talent show in the background going on before the shit really hits the fan. So, like I said, even if these things turn out to be 100% true, which once again, always wait until you have 100% confirmation from official sources. But even if some of these things end up being true, 100% true, you never know how big of a part of the film it's going to be. So yeah, I think that's some pretty big news there. We've got us a working title in Cave Dweller. We've got production starting on January the 19th. And some, I'll say, rumored character descriptions. So yeah. What do you all think? Let me know down in the comment section below. What do you think about these character descriptions? Do you think they're real? Do you think we may be seeing these characters in Halloween Ends? What do you think about that working title? Do you have any ideas about that? Anything and everything Halloween Ends you guys and gals want to talk about, leave it down below in the comment section. Leave me a like if you've enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications if you're really digging what I'm doing here at Bloody Breakdown. So with that said, I'm Bran from Bloody Breakdown, and we'll catch you all next time.